Hello and welcome to Learning by the Minute, where you learn anything about everything. Today's episode is about the most evil genius in history, Joseph Goebbels. Joseph Goebbels was a key figure in the Nazi regime and played a pivotal role in the implementation of some of the most heinous crimes against humanity in modern history. Born in 1897 in Reit, Germany, he grew up in a working-class family, where he faced bullying and ostracism due to his physical deformity, which left him with a club foot. This experience of marginalization may have contributed to his embrace of radical politics and his willingness to support violence and repression against minority groups. Goebbels was a gifted writer and attended the University of Heidelberg, where he studied literature and philosophy. During his university years, he became involved in radical politics and joined the National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP, in 1924. His talent for writing and his political skills quickly caught the attention of Adolf Hitler, and he became a close confidant of the Nazi leader. In 1933, Hitler appointed Goebbels as Minister of Propaganda and Public Enlightenment, giving him complete control over all forms of media in Germany. Goebbels used his power to create a cult of personality around Hitler, portraying him as a strong and infallible leader who could do no wrong. He also worked to suppress dissent and opposition within Germany, using censorship and propaganda to ensure that the German people remained loyal to the Nazi cause. Goebbels was a master of propaganda, using his skills to manipulate the German people into supporting the Nazi regime and its policies. He exploited the fears and prejudices of the German people, portraying Jews, homosexuals, and other minority groups as threats to the German way of life. He oversaw the production of anti-Semitic propaganda, including films and newspaper articles that portrayed Jews as subhuman and deserving of extermination. Goebbels played a key role in the implementation of the Holocaust, which resulted in the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews and millions of other people deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. He oversaw the production of propaganda that justified the Holocaust and worked to silence any opposition to the policy. He also played a key role in the forced deportation of Jews and other minority groups to concentration camps, where they were subjected to unspeakable horrors such as starvation, forced labor, and medical experiments. In addition to his role in the Holocaust, Goebbels was also responsible for the persecution of other minority groups. He oversaw the forced sterilization of thousands of people deemed unfit to have children, and he was a vocal advocate of eugenics. He also played a key role in the persecution of homosexuals, who were targeted by the Nazi regime and subjected to imprisonment and violence. Goebbels' personal life was also marked by tragedy and cruelty. He was married to Magda Goebbels, a devoted Nazi who shared his beliefs and values. Together, they had 6 children, whom they raised in the midst of the Nazi regime's atrocities. In a twisted act of murder-suicide, Joseph and Magda Goebbels killed their children and then themselves in the final days of World War II, as Allied forces closed in on Berlin. The list of evil deeds committed by Joseph Goebbels is long and harrowing. Here are some of the most notable. He oversaw the production of anti-Semitic propaganda that portrayed Jews as subhuman and deserving of extermination. He played a key role in the implementation of the Holocaust, which resulted in the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews and millions of other people deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. He oversaw the forced deportation of Jews and other minority groups to concentration camps, where they were subjected to unspeakable horrors such as starvation, forced labor, and medical experiments. He was a vocal advocate of eugenics and oversaw the forced sterilization of thousands of people deemed unfit to have children. He played a key role in the persecution of homosexuals, who were targeted by the Nazi regime and subjected to imprisonment and violence. He used his position as Minister of Propaganda to suppress dissent and opposition within Germany, using censorship and propaganda to ensure that the German people remained loyal to the Nazi cause. He created a cult of personality around Hitler, portraying him as a strong and infallible leader who could do no wrong. He exploited the fears and prejudices of the German people, portraying Jews, homosexuals, and other minority groups as threats to the German way of life. He advocated for the use of violence and repression against opposition groups, leading to the imprisonment, torture, and murder of thousands of people. He encouraged the German people to support the war effort, even as it became clear that the war was unwinnable and was causing untold suffering and devastation. He personally participated in the planning and execution of Nazi propaganda campaigns, including the infamous Total War campaign that called for the complete mobilization of all German resources for the war effort. He was involved in the planning and execution of the Kristallnacht pogrom, a coordinated attack on Jewish homes, businesses, and synagogues that resulted in the deaths of hundreds of Jews and the destruction of thousands of Jewish-owned properties. He oversaw the production of films and other media that glorified the Nazi regime and its leaders, including Hitler and Goebbels himself. He actively sought to silence any opposition to the Nazi regime, using violence, intimidation, and imprisonment to maintain control over the German people. Despite his horrific actions, Goebbels was a complex and fascinating figure, and his legacy continues to inspire debate and discussion to this day. Some argue that he was a true believer in the Nazi cause, while others suggest that he was a deeply cynical and manipulative individual who used his skills in propaganda to advance his own power and influence. Regardless of one's perspective, however, there is no denying that Goebbels played a key role in some of the most evil acts of the 20th century, and that his actions continue to haunt us to this day. Joseph Goebbels was also known for his twisted and abusive personal relationships. He was known to be deeply loyal to Hitler and his ideology, but was also known to be manipulative and cruel to those around him. Goebbels was deeply jealous of his wife Magda's previous relationships and was known to have physically and emotionally abused her. In fact, it is believed that Magda may have had an affair with Goebbels' personal assistant, Karl Henke, which Goebbels may have discovered and used as a justification for the murder-suicide that he and Magda committed. In addition to his personal life, Goebbels was also a talented and skilled public speaker. He used his charisma and persuasive abilities to rally the German people to the Nazi cause, and his speeches were often filled with emotional appeals and manipulative rhetoric. He was a master of propaganda, using his position as Minister of Propaganda to control the flow of information within Germany and to shape the public's perceptions of the war and the Nazi regime. Goebbels' influence was felt not just within Germany, but also throughout the world. His propaganda campaigns were studied by other governments and organizations, and his techniques were adopted and adapted for use in other countries. Even today, the term Goebbelsian is used to describe a particular style of propaganda that seeks to manipulate and control public opinion. In the end, however, Goebbels' legacy is one of evil and cruelty. He was a key player in one of the darkest chapters of human history, and his actions have had lasting repercussions. Despite this, his life and work continue to fascinate and intrigue people around the world, and his story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of hate, propaganda, and blind loyalty. That was all for today's episode. If you want to learn about something specific, leave a comment and next video maybe will be your idea. See you next time and take care.